The Shaking My Head podcast features interesting discussions about topics that have frustrated the hosts, Alex and David. Each episode is meant to question the quirks of society and bring to light subjects that intrigue or bother us. If you're here because something has you shaking your head, even if it's just life, you're in the right place.
Parenting. All right. I don't know. What do you want to start with?
I don't know. So to preface this podcast, there are very many different parenting styles. In case you guys don't know, we're both Asian, so we may have a very different upbringing slash our parents may have a different parenting style than other ethnicities. It's just what it is, I feel like. But with that out of the way, let's talk about parenting. I guess maybe we should start out maybe something that everyone can relate to, kind of how parenting has maybe changed, or how we think, I guess, parenting has changed over the the period of 30 years. That's how old we're 31, 32. How we think it's changed overall, and how maybe we could talk about our past and how we grew up.
I'll start out by saying that I think my views of parenting have changed.
It's just changed a lot from when we were little, I feel like.
There was a different situation for kids. Technology was different. You weren't able to I remember having to call my neighbor on the phone, literally, who was next door, to ask them to come out. I would call their house and ask, "Hey, is Michael available to come out and play?" And then have the parents be like, "Yes, that's okay." And then I would come over, and then we would hang out. But it was not like I could just text him or anything. I didn't have that was like before.
Right, it was landlines, basically.
Kids had cell phones, and now I think a lot of kids have cell phones, so there's a little less control for parents.
But you know what? Now that you mentioned that, the thing is, back then, right, we didn't have the internet when we were really our first few years. We also didn't have cell phones and all that other stuff. The only thing that our parents could really ban us from was not ban us, but punish us with is they would physically punish us, or the other options were no TV, or you couldn't go outside. But now I feel like, since it's so different and you got kids with cell phones and it's so easy to communicate, just by taking their phone away, I feel like there's so many people addicted, even kids nowadays, addicted to phones, that that's enough punishment in itself. You don't even have to physically punish anymore.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I work in the telecom industry, and there was an article that was going around, and it's an interesting article where there's a rise in burner phones for kids, because what's happening is the kids are on their parents' plan, and then they're on the phone late into the night, and the parents are like, "You can't be on the phone," so they'll take away their phone. And what these kids will do is, they're smart, right? So they get a prepaid phone, and they're able to still use Facebook and stuff like that on a prepaid phone. And basically it culminated into this one case where there was a girl who was in high school, and she had SIM swapped and accumulated burner phones. She had 6 phones.
Jeez.
Her parents had confiscated 5 of them. And at the 6th one, they just basically put her on home lockdown, so that whenever her friends came over to sleep over, their friends all had to put their phones into this lockbox before they could come over and hang out.
So bad,
because the parents didn't want the kids to be on the phone all night.
See, that's the parents' fault in the first place. I feel like they shouldn't have given them phone, or if they did, give them a phone that doesn't have internet. Just hey, this is a phone for emergencies, but other than that, no phones.
Parenting's got to evolve into a way where you respect the kid, and you've built some kind of trust between them, and you've parented your kid well enough so that they're not addicted to
that's the problem.
Social media or something.
That's what I was trying to get at. Like, all these parents are spoiling their kids, and you can't spoil your kids, problems arise.
Well, these kids are getting cell phones young too. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
when I drive to work, I see these kids they've got to be in middle school.
Yeah,
and they got phones.
Yeah, seriously. Like, when I was like, I did get a cell phone, I think towards the end of my middle school or high school, but back then they were all like dumb phones, and honestly, like, I only used it if I needed it. Otherwise, you're fine, right? But now, like, people, like, it's not just even kids, just everyone's so, and I'm probably a little guilty of this, but like, everyone's so dependent on their phones. It's crazy. There's some people who like can't live without their phones.
Sure.
I think it's just a change in culture, lifestyle, society. I think all that change things, and technology also changed how people grow up these days. Let's start with how it used to be when we grew up versus what we see now, and then go from there.
Okay, for me, it would be, I would guess it would be normal. I mean, I think all the Asian kids that I knew got beatings. I didn't get like the belt, but I got like hands.
Oh, my parents used to make me do like, either they'd beat me with like a wooden stick, or they'd maybe make me like hold my hands up, like just straight out, or they make me hold something. Hold your hands straight out. You've never done that? Yeah, you'd never held your hands straight out before for like 5 minutes.
Oh, just put your hand out? They didn't hit it?
They'll still hit it, but I mean, just that alone, or they make you hold something.
No, so my parents would do the thing where you would have to like kneel on your knees, but in a corner, like
basically face the wall.
Face the wall, but like your back straight, kind of thing. Like you're on your knees.
What kind of punishment's this?
I don't know. That's what I got. I never got like grounded into the like go to your room thing. I don't think my parents were like, that does anything. So it was either beating, like when I was really little, it was beating me with like a hand, like on the bum, or it was maybe when I was a little bit older, it was like kneeling on my knees, like keep your back straight and your legs straight. You know what I mean?
Back straight and legs straight. But you're kneeling down though?
It's like your butt can't touch your feet.
Oh.
Your knees are touching the ground.
So you're kneeling on the ground, and then like you're basically your legs are 90 degrees to your thighs, and you're just like, what the fuck?
You're just in that position,
and you can't lean against the wall either, right?
No, you're just sitting there.
Oh, that sounds pretty bad too.
So like now I feel like at the time I felt like it was terrible, but now I feel like it's not that bad.
Like I had a friend in college. Apparently his parents beat him with a golf club.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
that's gotta hurt.
That's the Korean life for you there.
That was it. I never got grounded. Because I never had like stuff in my room.
But you never got like grounded from like going out either?
No, I got grounded from going out.
Okay.
Like I couldn't go out to play, but it wasn't like physical like lockdown. It wasn't like, oh, you couldn't go around and I don't know. It wasn't like I couldn't move around the house. It was always you just couldn't go out to play with friends, but it wouldn't be very long. It was mostly just kneel in the corner or get beat. That was it. For summer school, I used to have to do like math prep during the summer, but like books at home.
Yeah, I kind of had to do that too. I mean, like,
but I don't think I think that's a very Asian thing. I don't. Maybe nowadays it's getting more common. I don't know, but man. I feel like when I was growing up, I was the only kid having to do like math prep books.
I thought you were talking about Asian. Yeah, Asian people. Yeah, I don't know about others, but yeah, definitely with Asian people, it's always gonna happen, regardless of how old, like what decade or whatever.
But I feel like so my situation is gonna, it should be different because I'm an only child.
You sure about that?
And like, what is it? You have a sister. Like, did you guys get? If one person got punished,
dude, like every person that has a sibling, everybody knows that the older child always gets the shaft for everything. So like if my sister did something wrong, my mom would come scold me, and then by the time she's done scolding me, my sister would run off, and that was that. Or like, you know, they'd be like, "Oh, why are you such a bad influence?" Or you're always the trial child, right? So they'll try things out with you first. You know, they fuck it up, then they know what to do with the second child or third child, or you know, anything after that. But also my understanding is also being the middle child also sucks, because they probably end up giving you the least amount of attention, because the first child gets all the attention, right, when they're the only one around, and then you're born for a short period, you know, for however long afterwards, and then they may give you attention, but then the middle child comes around, or sorry, the youngest child comes around, and then they get all the attention probably for the rest of, you know, your life. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's all relative. Being the only child, you get all the attention, I guess.
You get all the attention, but all the blame, right?
Yeah, but also there's no one else to blame either.
Yeah.
There's no fallback. Okay, so anyways, yeah, that's I guess that's our experiences growing up. If there's any younger audiences out there, we'd love to hear what you have to say about, I guess, your upbringing and how it differs from ours. I guess maybe we should talk about like society these days and what kind of flies and what didn't used to. Like, for instance, I think people are allowed to cuss more on TV than when we were younger. I feel like, you know, people would say like maybe bitch here and there. It would not be very common, but nowadays you hear bitch shit and probably fuck everywhere on the TV. Like Game of Thrones, that's a good example.
Sure. I mean, for certain channels, there are more channels that I guess I would consider R-rated content. There's more R-rated content channels now.
I'm not even talking about like stuff on public TV. I feel like these days there's still more cussing than there used to be. And
sure, I mean, it's a little more everything. I mean, I would say there's more like sex scenes on TV. On like public channels than content. There's more
is that for the better or worse?
Murder. There's like crime shows. There's more murder. There's a little more extreme content that is a little bit more accepted.
Is that? But I guess the question is that a good or bad thing?
So like in the purview of parenting, it makes it tougher. I mean, if your goal as a parent is to kind of insulate your child or protect them from that until they're older, then it's going to be hard because, like we said, whether it be social media, or you know, just any TV show now, is going to have like something related to, I don't know, it could have murder or sex in it or something like that. Now it's definitely a lot easier for access for younger kids, and it's harder to like completely insulate your kid from it.
I think the root cause is a lot of parents are being very they're spoiling their kids too much. I think that's the problem these days. If we stop spoiling our kids just a little bit less, that's gonna make a difference. Oh, yeah, and I guess something else I was thinking about is like how, for example, I see parents bringing their kids to breweries.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, was that something you would do if you had kids?
Me? Nah, I probably wouldn't do that. I probably wouldn't go to breweries that much.
But like if you did go to a brewery, say like you had friends, you know, like say, you know, all you and all your friends were around the same age, you know, like say mid-30s, and you had kids, they had kids.
Probably not. And it's not like I don't want them to be exposed. Well, I kind of don't want them to be exposed to it. I feel it's more of a hassle to bring them. Like, you can't drink, so I don't want to watch you. I'd rather you stay home with like a babysitter, if I'm going to a brewery. Same thing with parents who bring their kids to like music festivals,
like Coachella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kid's not really gonna remember or enjoy it, and you're gonna have to watch it the whole time. I don't know how much enjoyment you're gonna get, or freedom. Mm-hmm. So why bring your kids? And that's the same issue I have with parents who bring kids like when they're really, really young on airplanes. Mm-hmm. I get the fact that maybe like you're gonna go visit grandparents or something, but still, it sucks. It sucks for everyone who's like on the plane.
Oh, I know. I feel like every time I'm on a flight, there's always that one kid crying.
Or there's like parents are like bringing their kids to movie theaters a lot now too. I like when I'm going to watch movies, there's always a crying baby in there. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, have respect for all the other movie watchers. And I get it, like, you want to watch the movie too, but you made a decision to have a kid. Like, just leave it at home and come by yourself.
I agree. I mean, I know it's hard and it costs a lot of money, but, like, I mean, that's part of having a kid, you know?
Would you bring your kid?
I would personally say if they were really young, probably not. Because, one, they could be disruptive. They'll probably be running around, and there's people like walking around with beers and all that other stuff. And also, they're probably gonna be kids when they're young are kind of noisy. Now, if they're maybe in middle school or high school, I wouldn't mind bringing them because they're a little bit more well behaved. Well, hopefully. But also,
what are they gonna do?
But also, like, I don't know, like, yeah, that's if they want to come. Like, if they want to come, that's cool. If they want to go like hang out with some kids or whatever, that's cool too. But I wouldn't mind. Actually, like, having my kids have, you know, like a couple sips of beer just to try out if they're interested in, because I think the problem with drinking, especially in America, is it's like the only country where you have to be 21 or older to drink. And because of that, it's kind of like forbidden fruit. And because of that, you know, everyone's kids are just like going crazy wild drinking in college and probably getting like alcohol poisoning or like getting drunk and roofied or something bad may happen. So I think it's good to kind of adopt kind of the European culture where you get your kids accustomed to drinking, not like binge drinking, but it's just like, hey, this is an okay thing to do. It doesn't need to be like some kind of forbidden thing. One thing that's kind of cool about my dad is he kind of realized, you know, he's a smart guy. He's like, hey, Alex, if you ever end up going out to drink in college, just give me a call. Don't drive. I'll come pick you up. Just don't drive, and I'll give you a ride home. Mm-hmm. That's the smart way to do it, because you know, more than likely, your kid's going to be doing shit in college. And to be like, just say like, because you know, humans never listen. Like, it's a reverse psychology thing. You tell someone not to do something, they're going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you know that shit's already going to happen, just be like, hey, just be safe about it. If you ever need me to do anything, let me know. I'll be there for you. And I think that's the right way to do it.
Man, your dad was cool. My
dad's semi-cool. I mean, he probably, the next day, he probably scolded me and be like, why are you such a dumb fuck drinking this so damn much, you know? But at least, he told me that.
He cares.
No, yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to do it. Like, just learn that the second you tell anyone, even adults, not even just kids, the second they can't do something, they're gonna want to do it. It's human nature, sadly. Man, that's why I'm afraid of having a kid. I feel like I'm gonna fuck up my own kid in my own way, and then I feel like it's not gonna be in a good way. So
yeah,
I don't know if I want kids.
I worry about like the consequences or the ramifications are too much. If I fuck something up, then like the kid's gonna be messed up.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, a kid's upbringing really comes down to the environment they grow up in. So a lot of that's influenced by you, where they grow up in, and the people they're around, which includes, extended family and friends. You got, if you got good influences around, the kid's more than likely going to be well behaved. But then, if not, then who knows? I'm not saying this holds true for sure, but I'd say, generally speaking, that's usually the case. There's always outliers. I think if I do have a kid, I honestly, as long as they stay out of trouble and they make halfway decent grades, I'm fine with that. And I guess for Asian standards, for halfway decent grades are B's or higher. Not like my parents where like everything needs to be 100.
I thought Asian standards are A's only.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying it's not Asian standards. Like, I'm saying for me, like what I consider as good enough grades is like a B or higher. But I'm saying like Asians are used, like my parents used to be like 100, nothing less, which is a bunch of bull. And they always give me that bullshit like shit back in the day when I was younger. They're like, oh, you used to walk 3 miles to school each way, blah blah this. We used to get like 100 on everything. I'm like, I know these guys are just full of shit. I mean, like my parents did go to good schools for college and stuff, but definitely I don't believe all that. They're just trying to parent us in their own way.
Yeah. And I mean, I think now that I'm older, I mean, my parents are, my mom is really chill now. She's like, I mean, now that she realized I do whatever the hell I want, but.
I mean, you're 31 now, like, I think this kind of goes to
but Asian parents still try to parent, even at 31.
They do, but I mean, this kind of comes like the tiger mom thing. Like, man, my mom, even like when I was in college at home for the summer, I was like going to go out and go meet with some friends, and she's like, oh, it's too late, stay home. And it was like 11 o'clock, which is like nothing, when you're in college. And even that, like, oh man, wish my sister was here for this, but we're in St. Augustine for Memorial Day weekend. Mom is just, I don't think it's a tiger mom, actually. I think it's just my mom. She just fucking bitches about everything. And long story short, I'm not gonna go into details, but she made the trip horrible. She ruined the trip. I mean, I kind of understood like what the problem was, but I was thinking like maybe we should enjoy the trip and then deal with it later. But anyways, if you guys want to hear about, maybe we should do a podcast at some point about like tiger moms or my mom, really, the stories.
Your mom, really, just a whole podcast on your mom.
Oh, there's definitely this. My sister was here. Oh my god, like one more thing and we'll probably move on. But like, yesterday, it's Father's Day. My sister and I did a 3-way call with my dad. Tell him to say happy Father's Day for, and we talked for a couple minutes, and he's like, oh, I gotta go back and do yard work, which I'm like, first of all, why the fuck are you doing yard work on Father's Day? But then my mom started talking, and like I didn't talk for like 10 minutes, and I said something. She's like, I didn't even know you were on the phone. I was like, yeah, I'm still on the fucking phone. And the whole time I was like complaining about this and that, and she's like, what's your opinion then? And she's just like, for 40 minutes or something. And I'm like, Chantel, my sister, I'm like, is this usually what you and mom talk about? She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, but just like the whole point is like we try to call my dad to talk to him, say to happy to Father, dad. And it'd be my mom just ranting the whole time. I'm like, man, this really sucks. So
how many kids are you gonna have when you a parent?
Either 0 or 2 or more.
0. I think 0 is getting popular now.
It is. I think a lot of people are just
popular to have 0.
A lot of people are kind of going against what society kind of dictates, because like society kind of says like, oh, if you don't have a kid by 30, I mean, it's kind of scientific as well. They're like, oh, your kid's going to be fucked up, which I kind of disagree with, but that's kind of another discussion topic probably. But I guess the more generalization I'm kind of talking about is like society kind of not really dictates, but suggests that, being married and having kids is like the thing to do. But I think a lot of people are just a lot more independent these days, and they're more forward thinking and more independent. And that's why people just aren't having kids anymore. Like, I think my friend told me, I forget how much it was. Having a kid costs, I think, at least $250,000 over the lifetime. Or like between, I guess, at least zero, when you're born to 18. That's $250,000 per kid. That's $500,000.
Yeah.
Think about like if you're just a couple, what you could do with $500,000, right? You could buy You could buy a really nice car. You could buy a really nice house, whatever, and still have money left over. And you go on trips.
That's true.
There's so much, and then like some people might be like, "Oh, that's really selfish." And it's like, well,
that is selfish.
But yeah, but then it's like, I could create the counter argument and be like, I don't want to have a fucked up kid in this life, So.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have a kid if you're not motivated to.
Yeah. But
the value of a kid is more than
It's the fruit of your loins.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're not doing it because like it's, oh shit, $500,000 coming out of my pocket.
Yeah, I mean, people want people. I don't know. I feel like most people do want kids for the right reasons. On the flip side,
your parents invested $500,000 in you guys, so.
Hey man, we're doing okay. We could be worse.
You could be better too.
Yeah, we could be. I could be a very overachieving Asian, but hey man, we both have good jobs. We're both doing fine. We're not always relying on our parents to, save our asses or anything like that.
No.
I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. So, I mean, I think we did relatively well as kids.
And I think now parenting is a little more hands off now.
It is, which I think is a little bit of a problem. Let's talk about helicopter moms.
Okay.
Let's throw a complete 180.
So what is a helicopter mom?
So isn't a helicopter? My understanding is a helicopter mom is like a mom that's just like involved with like every part of their kid's life, especially in school, and then just like they're basically hovering over their life, the kid's life, which they call them helicopter moms, I think, right? And I think that's the teacher's worst nightmare because all the parent does is just complain the whole time about their kids, like not having enough work to do and making sure they're like learning to the absolute best abilities in school. I think that's a little too much. I understand that, like, they're looking out for their kid, but it gives the kid no room to breathe. I don't know if it makes the kid any like more liked at school by the teacher, but
if you protect the kid too much, it's detrimental to the kid because the kid has to make mistakes. I think that's something I learned as like kind of from my parents' parenting technique. They're really overprotective, so they didn't give me opportunities to like fail. So when I did fail, it was kind of I had to learn late, and I was basically learning to fail later on.
I agree.
And still, there's parts of that I never really learned because I was protected from it. There's that recent thing in the news with the celebrities paying for their kids to go to good colleges, like
not even celebrities, like rich people
basically paying to have the SATs, the scores, like have them in a preferential environment, and then like give them the ability to retest, provide them with and that's something else that I don't like about schools now. I don't know if it's just a competitive atmosphere, but it's like kids these days have to have extracurricular activities, have to play sports.
It used to be, like, I think between my year and your year, that was like your year's the year that started a whole bunch of competition for people getting into college. And I think because of all this competition, it's just making it harder and harder for kids to get into college. So it may seem like a requirement now just because like everyone does it, and I think
everyone does it,
but it's not necessarily a requirement. It's just like that's if you want to go to a good school, that's just kind of what you have to do these days.
Yeah, it's not a requirement still, but there's no way if 80% of students are doing it, you got to do it.
Right.
You know, whereas back when I was applying, I mean, it was maybe 20% of students had volunteering stuff.
Only
it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, I'll do it because I need to get a leg up. But it wasn't. Now it's like it's not a leg up. You have to do it.
That's all for this week. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and tune in next week for more stories about what has got us shaking our heads.